going from Lake Charles, Chenault International, and this is in Lake Charles, Louisiana. And we're going to go to Acadiana Regional. It's in New Iberia, Louisiana. Okay, so let's get that loaded up here in simulator. So I've got KCWF, and then we're going to KARA. You can see here, this is the device interface for that loads automatically for real sim gear. And you can double check, make sure PFD and NFD controls are working properly. It's picking everything up. I've got, as part of the real sim gear, you have 6 elements, 6 pieces. So this is a switch panel here. You got your 2 displays on either side. You've got the GCU, and then a GFC 700 autopilot, and then the GMA 350 communications panel here. Let's go to the checklist. Starting engine procedure, so brakes. We've got locked and on. Battery master switches are on. Strobe light on. Mixture full rich. Full forward on the power lever. We'll do a little boost on the pump since it's a cold start. And then we'll bring back the power lever to a 1/4 inch open. Ignition switch on. Cranks right up. Then we'll bring back the power level back to bring the RPMs below 1,000. And then I can turn on the alt switches and the avionics switches, at which point I can pop out the displays and move them over here. Just bring them up to the edge of the display, hit Alt Enter, fills up the display. I then bring the next one over, Alt Enter, and voila, I've got my displays G1000 set up here. I can control everything through the real sim gear unit here. Okay, I can check my fuel tanks, pretty even here, so I'll make sure that I just start from the left here. Flaps are up. Radio avionics, let me get that set up. We'll go back to my map, pull up the information for the airport. ATIS is 120. This is where the beauty of this unit comes in. No fumbling with the mouse on the screen and trying to rotate, especially when you're flying and you're trying to program all at the same time. This makes a tremendous amount of difference. So got it on ATIS. I come down here. I can just monitor that. Okay, we got information Golf. Go back up here and I'll get 121.65 for the ground. And then we'll do tower 124.2. So normally I'd pick up my IFR clearance at this point, call up clearance delivery. Let's request taxi. I use flight sim to ForeFlight FS2FF. It's really simple. Just hit connect. You see it pop up there, my location on the taxi diagram. Let's go ahead and get some power moving. I got my brakes released. You see in ForeFlight it even picks up my orientation. We'll switch over to tower. Get my landing and nav lights on, my pitot heat. Guess some, I'll get it turned on if we do get up into those clouds. We're going to be flying at 5,000 feet. This is an odd number going to the east. Transponder, we're just going to keep at 1200 since I'm not actually talking, but I'll get the altitude on. Fuel pump is on. Fuel selector kept on the fullest tank. Flaps 50%. And we're ready to go. We'll request takeoff clearance. Okay, we are cleared for takeoff.
Approaching runway 15.
Flaps
Enter
are in.
runway 15. 11.
Make sure full rich. Fuel we get. Pump is on. Lights are on. Flaps 50. It's a nice long runway. Okay. Heels to the ground. Full power. We've got full power, full RPMs. Oil temperature and pressure looks good. Speed is alive. Holding center line. And rotate. Positive rate of climb over 95 knots. Flaps up. Pitch up. And once I hit 400 feet AGL, we'll turn on course. Okay, this is where they would have handed me off to departure. So we're gonna not gonna do the north departure since I flew out of 15, took off of runway 15, but we'll just turn here a little bit. Slightly, you'll go east northeast. Just intercept. Get my CDI on GPS. Intercept that. Climbing to 5,000. Bring up the vertical speed. We'll put it 1,000. And then we'll put heading for now. And autopilot is on. Let me do my climb checklist. Climb power is set. Flaps are up. Mixture is full rich. Fuel pump. Go ahead, turn that off. And lights. I'll take off the landing lights. Everything looks good. So as I come closer to okay, climbing out nicely. I could actually pitch it up some more, so we climb out at 120. A good climb rate today. You can see me here on the foreflight, just nicely intercepting now. What's actually on my G1000 is going to be a little bit different, I think, because I didn't load the procedure, so we'll go ahead and do that. We're going to do the ILS 35 LFT transition, Lafayette, VOR. We're going to go ahead and load that. So that now resembles what's on foreflight. I'll go ahead and hit nav. See, that actually bumped it down a little bit for some odd reason, so it's not going to follow foreflight perfectly, but what I can do is do that and it syncs right up. Okay, so let's go ahead and start briefing my approach. This is going to be the ILS runway 35. It's up to date. I still want to keep monitoring. I'm coming up to my 5,000. I want to make sure it levels off. It's going to start leveling off. My speed was getting a little low there as I was getting up higher, so something you definitely want to watch. Or use IS mode to climb. So we're going to get the nav 1 here, 108.9. And make sure that IDs when we get closer. Okay, ASOS is 133.325. Okay, I'm just going to break off here and do my cruise checklist. So fuel pump is off, cruise power will bring down to 75, lean it out. And here on the sim, I just lean it out until I get the maximum power, and then bring it back down to 75%. That should give me a nice cruise speed here. I can put on the PFD, I can put the wind. Oops, I like option 3, I can see it, interpret it better. So that gives me a nice indication of my wind coming from 333 at 9 knots. Sync up my heading bug. Okay, how are we doing? We're 48 miles away. Engine parameters all look good. So let's continue to prep and brief this approach. So Lafayette approach control 121.1, so I'd wait till I have that ready to go. And I'd probably have it tuned up and ready to, assuming that'd be the next approach control. And then once I'm over to them, I would put tower in my COM 1 as backup, ready to go. And then I like to put my CTAF, ASOS in this case, not CTAF, ASOS or ATIS, COM 2, and then on the backup I put ground control. Because usually when you're on approach and you switch over tower, you're thinking too much about everything else. If you get to put the ground right after you switch over from to tower, you're usually pretty far into the approach some cases, especially in a very busy tower when it's hard to get a word in sometimes. So I like to put that in my backup on COM 2. So I'm going to see if I can pick up any ASOS here on Flight Sim. I'm not sure. So we've got the ASOS. I can switch over ground. I'll have that ready to go. As I get closer, I'll get the tower up. We've got, we're all good there. Okay, so we're going to come into Lafayette View R, and then we will turn to Pilly, at which during that point we'll descend down to 3,000. We've got plenty of time to do that. It's 24 miles. And then I'm going to do a procedure turn on the west side. I'm going to have to do that manually here with the heading because I'm pretty sure it's not going to program that in properly here in Microsoft Flight Simulator. So what we're going to do is we come in, and once we cross the initial approach fix pilier, we'll be able to descend down to 1700, and then we'll come back around on the 348 heading, and then should be able to pick up we'll continue that until, so 1 minute out max, we'll do that. And then we'll come back in and we should capture the glide slope by the time we get to Isusi. And then it's at 1700, we can start then descending to 480, and just watching it should take us right down. We've got a decision altitude at 221, 200 feet above the ground. Again, it's made clear, so we'll be good. So we're now 34 miles out. Let's take a look outside. It's looking good. Pretty flat. So we'll zoom ahead here and catch up as we get closer to Lafayette. VR. Okay, I realized I didn't have my traffic on for flight. Now I've got traffic lining up and it matches nicely, if you look at my screen, with the G1000, so I can see all the other aircraft here. Let's make sure I get my missed approach briefed here as well. So if I am not able to see the runway, we'll climb to 800 at the decision altitude of 221. Then a climbing right turn to 2000 heading 080. And then at the Lafayette radio 114 and the intersection of the LSU 211 radios, we'll do a hold. We'll then hold on a 294 radio. It's actually a left-hand turns holding to the south. So the entry would be parallel entry. So what I like to do is I like to actually draw that on here. So it'd be coming up, would be coming in this way, would be coming in parallel, and then we'll come in and then intercept like that. So we got some traffic on top, actually below us, so let's take a look. Should be just to the right. Oh, there he is. I see him. Going by. Right there. If you see him, there he is, little guy. That's pretty realistic there, and you know, it could be really hard to see traffic during the day, especially when you get someone against the land here, and they can often blend in, especially a white colored plane with some of the earth colors. Let me check my fuel. It'd be a good time to switch. So we'll go to the right tank. So that'll be the airport I'll be landing at right there. I'm going to just be passing right alongside it. So a day like today I would simply go land VFR. There's absolutely no reason to fly the whole procedure IFR, but again, we're good practice, and again, want to make sure everything works well here in Microsoft Flight Simulator with my real sim gear. And we are turning. And once I'm on track here, I'll start my descent. Got plenty of time to descend at 24 miles. And I'll do my descent checklist. So descent power set. We'll continue to monitor my indicated airspeed, make sure it doesn't go above the red line here. Mixture as required. We're going to start bringing that in as we descend. Fuel system is good. I already switched tanks. Cabin heat, don't have to worry about that. And the altimeter was 29 or 9 or 6, so that's why you do checklist, because I should have had that in earlier. Landing light, we'll go ahead and get that on, and brake pressure I would check. Before landing, seatbelt, shoulder harnesses on, fuel pump, get on boost, make sure we continue to bring in as we descend. We'll have that full rich by the time we get down, and then flaps we'll get once we hit we got the glide slope comes alive, and then autopilot will disengage as we get closer. There's a nice view of the airport there. New Iberia, Louisiana. Little lake there. Nice view as the airport comes into view. One of the things I do have to reset this view that I saved, because I have it looking a little bit towards the back and I want to get it more in the front. In fact, there's some time, so let's do that now. This is a little bit more kind of real view, unless you got a really good swivel neck. So I'll go ahead and save that here, and then we'll do the same here. We'll just tilt it a little bit forward. It looks about right, and we'll program that in here. Let's test that out, see what that looks like. That's pretty good. So we're going to be doing 198 here as I cross right there, 198. And I do a lot of hand flying. Right now I'm doing almost all my approaches are hand flown, really working on making sure I've got really good precise control. But in the flight sim, you know, making good use of this real sim gear. And it is a lot harder, I find at least, to hand control the airplane in Microsoft Flight Simulator. Everything I have, the pedals and this Thrustmaster controller are really good. I'm so happy with them. I upgraded those. Oops, forgot my timer. See, it's one of the mistakes I make a lot in my training too. So this we're having for flight is nice. If you make a mistake like that, you can roughly judge the distance. That was probably about 30 seconds late there anyway, so it's looking pretty good. I'm going to just start turning it in. Normally I'd be hand flying this, or if I did use the Avidyne in the actual plane, I would do standard rate turns. Now this, if I just turned it all the way in, it would go beyond the standard rate turn, so I've got to kind of hand feed it here, and we're going to do the 348 inbound. I'm going to try unsuspending and see what happens. See if I still pick up or if I lose anything. So 348 on the heading. We're coming around. It's looking good so far. Let's see how close to a minute I was when I get reestablished. Oops, 348's right there. Okay, start the timer, see how close I was. I'm going to hit the OBS and see what happens. Okay, I picked up the localizer, which is good. We'll hit the approach mode when I get closer. Oh shoot, forgot to descend. See, this is where you get behind the aircraft. And I also didn't slow down. So, 2 mistakes. This is why I like to practice on the flight sim, because some mistakes you don't want to make in the real world. Get behind the plane. Descend quicker. Slower up. Okay, I'm maybe looking for when the glide slope gets picked up here. Okay, looks like it's picked up. Let's see. Okay, glide slope is picked up. It's not alive yet. So this should, okay, I'm coming down to 120, so let's speed her up a little bit. It's going to level off at 2000. Now I can start to descend to 1700. Okay, everything is good. Glide slope is now coming in. I'm below flap speed, so 50% flaps coming in. That should take me down to right about 100, which is where I want to get to. So I might have to give it a little bit of power here. We'll see where it levels off. Yeah, it's going to be close. Just inch the power in a little bit. Level off at 100. It's looking pretty good. Okay, we are crossing issue. It should capture the glide slope and should start descending here in just a minute, or just a few seconds. And I'm going to have to bring the power back to maintain. There goes. Capture the slide. Reduce the powers. As I descend, stay at the 100. You want to get your speed in control because it's important for a nice, smooth, steady landing. It's my biggest problem when flying. I tend to come in too fast. And I float, or I try to force it down or something. When I get that speed right, that's when you can reach those landings. You get just a nice transition. Okay, we can hand fly the rest of this. So just watch my glide slope.
500.
Here. 500 caps no longer available. Looking good. Go ahead and get this next set of flaps in. It's going to balloon. Push the nose down a bit. Make sure I want to be coming down now, slowing down a little bit. Not too slow though. 80's good. Everything looks good. A little low. Add a little power to bring the altitude back up a bit. Okay, looking good, looking good. Start pulling back power now. I've got perfect 78 knot, right at where I need to be. I just start reducing power down to idle. Nice flare, look down the runway. Nice and lined up. Okay, good. I might make, oh geez, why is it taking me off the right here? Might be able to make this taxi. Perfect. All right. Very good. Okay, my taxi. This is where it just pops up nicely. Okay, I go to mic 2. I've got 121.7. Power level is right. Fuel pump is off. Flaps are up. Transponder. You can go ahead and put on on. Take the altitude off. The lights, we don't need the landing. Pitot heat, never needed, and we're good. So we'll request taxi to parking. Okay, well that was fun. I'm glad to see everything working. Hope you enjoyed that. If there's anything else you'd like to see, let me know. This is my first one, so bear with me as I work out these technical challenges. And if you want to see some real world flying, I will be putting up some of that too. So watch out for more. Subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Welcome. Come back and look for more. I appreciate you guys.